I'm Dr. Pete the Stress Surfer, and we're moving through our recovery program, Riding the Waves of Life Without the Stress. The next part of our time together is going to be having a look at wipeouts, or the stress response. And in this time, we're going to have a look at the fight-flight response and understand the basic stress symptoms we have. From there, we're going to look at what we call the cycle of negative emotions and about how stress can turn into something a bit bigger and how we can fully wipe out, or we can stay on our surfboard if you like, and survive through the challenging waves of life. Wipeouts for the surfer. When a surfer wipes out, they lose control of the surfboard and fall off into a breaking wave. We call it going over the falls. You get held down in the impact zone and become disorientated, so you don't know which way is up. Wipeouts for the stress surfer. When a stress surfer wipes out, they become unbalanced and begin to lose control. They get stressed, anxious, angry, or depressed. They worry too much, drink too much, and make bad lifestyle choices, and can lose their sense of purpose. When we think about wipeouts and the stress response, as you can see in the diagram, we have two areas of our body and mind we have to consider. There's our adrenal glands, and if you stop and take a moment and put your hands on your hips, and then wiggle your thumbs around on your back where they naturally sit. That's where your adrenal glands are, and they're the things that pump the chemicals up to your brain that trigger off what we call fight or flight. So when something stresses us, we see it, hear it, and feel it, our adrenal glands then fire off the chemicals that get us all tense and worked up. The stress response relates to symptoms of physical tension, irritability, social withdrawal, poor concentration, for some people tearfulness, and for others anger. And it's important to know that these types of stress symptoms are normal and affect all of us at some time. However, when stress becomes too intense, it can lead to more serious wipeouts, such as anxiety. Anxiety is where you have increased nervousness and fearfulness, increased heart rate and breathing, poor concentration and memory, and physical tension, sometimes to the point of muscle pain. When stress becomes too intense, anxiety may not be the only thing that you experience. You may also have the wipeout of depression. And depression is characterized by low mood, thoughts of hopelessness and helplessness, a lack of interest in previously enjoyable activities, and social withdrawal. Once too much stress is occurring for too long, you are very much in what we call the cycle of negative emotions, or the wipeout, being held down in that negative emotional space, that impact zone. And as you wipe out, you start to become depressed about being anxious, or anxious about being depressed. Some people then get angry because they're not recovering soon enough and become angry about being anxious, or be stressed about being depressed. We call this the double negative, and that's very much the state of a wipeout. I want you to take a moment now and think about wipeouts and your signs of stress. The picture you can see in front of you was drew by my daughter Emma when she was 4 years old. As you can see there's a stick man who has a smiley face, a pretty messy haircut, and only 3 fingers. Kinda cute. You may also notice a big dark line between the eyes and some creases in the forehead. One of the things I learnt about early on in my career was sometimes when I'm stressed, I don't even realize it's happening. And when my daughter drew this picture, she called it Happy Daddy. And seeing this picture made me realize that I'm often stressed back then, but I wasn't showing it or being aware of it in a healthy way. Let's do an exercise now. Let's stop for a moment and think about your stress reactions and the current wave you've nominated. Firstly, think about the 3 most common signs of stress you have experienced and write them down. Now, focus in on the current wave that you're looking at. What are the stress reactions you need to be aware of so that you don't wipe out? Welcome back. How did you go with that exercise of your current stress reactions? You know, when I did that exercise, there were 3 things that I typically experience when I'm getting stressed. Firstly, I get a bit tense, physical tension. Secondly, I have problems concentrating at times. And thirdly, I can get quite tired or fatigued when I'm experiencing those stress symptoms or stress reactions. When I took a look at that current wave I was focusing on, which was about missing my kids, I found there were 2 early warning signs if I was getting a bit stressed. Again, it was about the physical tension and also about distractibility or poor concentration. And when those things are happening, I know I'm at risk of wiping out if I don't take some sort of action to calm down and cope better.